Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and hopefully have a lot more fun. I'm your host, Paul Sanneman. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source. We help contractors build great teams. My guest today is Paul Wurth and Assembly. Now, Paul, you tell me you're an authority on AI. Is that what you said?
I don't think anybody can say that. It's moving too fast, but I spend a lot of time on it. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so tell me a little about what your product is and what it does and how it might relate to people, and then also your general intelligence about AI.
Yeah. So, fortunately, I found myself in construction technology right out of college. And so I've basically had my entire career working with small to medium-sized contractors on, adopting technology to streamline their business. And, back in 2006, before there was an iPhone and Wi-Fi everywhere, me and my friends who started Buildertrend, I was the first employee of that company, we were trying to sell web-based software. Well, first we had to explain it, but we were trying to sell web-based software to people who didn't have Wi-Fi in their offices. So as you can imagine, it was an uphill battle, but they were scars that were worth it because they paid dividends, as we built that business and my career after that. But yeah, I think that everybody knows that construction is sort of slower to adopt technology. And I think people assume that's because of the people in construction. And I found that's the opposite case. I found that there's not enough people building simple, straightforward products for them to do it. And that's what we set out to do. So my current company that I had the opportunity to be a founder and CEO of is called Assembly with an I, assembly.ai. And we're one of the first companies that you're going to see a lot of, which is great, which is taking the power, the intelligence and speed of AI and doing the work for a construction company to put it into commercial use, like where you can trust it to use it in your business. Like, because right now, if you're a small business owner, you've got to go out to 𝗪GPT, which you hear in the news all the time, or Gemini for Google, or Anthropic Claude, and you really got to do everything. You got to come up with, okay, well, what does this do? How do I apply that to what's happening in my business? Where are the pain points? How do I test it? How do I, automate it? How do I train my team on it? And I think what's great is you're going to get companies like Assembly that are going to do all of that work for you and just put it in a product that you can just go with. And that's great. And we're going to see that. And they're called Applied AI.
So what does Assembly actually do? The software?
Yeah, for us, well, a couple things. Number one, I think there's not enough people building products for small contractors, small to medium-sized contractors. It's always been what I've had a passion for. I count many of them my friends now, over 20 years of working with them. And so number one, we're building for residential builders, and not a lot of people are. Home builders to start, but really everybody. And we want to focus on pre-construction because I think pre-construction is where you're going to see the biggest ROI on a product like this. As everybody who listens to this knows, if you're in the business, there's just so many inefficiencies in, quoting people, doing an estimate, reviewing subcontractor bids, just all of the stuff that happens pre-construction is typically in the office. It's typically heavily manual and paperwork. And I think that's what you look for when you want to speed something up with the speed and intelligence of AI. So our first product is streamlining just the process of taking a set of architectural plans, extracting information, so doing a takeoff, which takes hours from a human, and it's riddled with opportunity to make a mistake there, and doing that in less than 2 minutes. So we're extracting measurements and counts and information.
Well, is that the same thing Kenny that Bluebeam does, or is it a different thing?
Yeah, it's the same action that Bluebeam assists a builder to do, but Bluebeam's much like a ruler and a pencil. It's just digital. So you're still having to do all of that work as a user. You're having to figure out, how to break every page up, rename every page, rescale every single time. And so what we look at is those repetitive things. Like if every single time I need the linear square feet of the interior walls of the first floor, why do I have to go in there and do that every time? If every time I need to rescale, if every time I need to break up into separate pages, if every time I need to get the roof pitch, all of these things that literally you do the same way every time, but because you're so busy as a contractor, you're probably distracted halfway through, you make a mistake because it's just a lot of tedious work. It's just a perfect application for a well-trained AI model. Actually, we have a series of AI models that are doing separate tasks, and they do them all under like a minute, which is pretty crazy.
So I know a lot of people use Bluebeam, but you still have to do the work with Bluebeam, right?
That's right.
It's a takeoff software, but you have to still send it. It like assists you, but it doesn't do it for you, right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's the difference. And really, what I see is companies like ours who had the fortune of starting in like the beginning phase of this AI. Like we're not a legacy software. We have to kind of go back and redo everything with AI. Like we're starting from that as a foundation. And so I think we're going to usher in like a new experience people have with software, which is awesome because it should be a conversation, not a training manual of where the button is and what does it do. And what if it doesn't do this? Who do I call? Like with our product, you would basically upload a PDF and in 2 minutes, you get back a 90 line item preliminary estimate that takes all of these measurements, and we've trained it with over 100,000 pages and plans. So it's been proprietary trained, where these AI models out there today they don't have enough data on architectural plans to be good at it, consistent. But it takes about 50 key measurements out of the plans, puts them into estimating formula, uses your cost database as a multiplier, and then gives you a preliminary estimate in 2 minutes, which takes hours and hours of time.
I think for our audience, a lot of people listening don't understand that a lot of legacy software isn't API, it's hard, right? They started 15 years ago. They've got a lot of time, energy invested. Maybe in C++ or they wrote in. And it wasn't, when they wrote it, the technology that we have today didn't even exist, right?
Correct. 100%.
So they've got this legacy software, and it won't connect with everything else, like with Zapier and stuff. A lot of these, with this project management software or estimation software, if it's written and it's 15 years old, it doesn't connect as well. It doesn't play friendly with other people, right?
It's just hard. I mean, it's just like your own business as a contractor. Like you can't pick up and like go, change the type of projects you build or, the scope. Like, you're kind of build your business on doing something and you do it really well. And there's a lot to unwind that. It's the same thing for technology companies. Businesses that have been around for 15 or 20 years, that's a question a lot of people say is like, well, isn't like a legacy software like Bluebeam or any of the estimating tools out there, aren't they just going to build AI into it? Well, the answer is no. I've
noticed that for some project management software, it's the same thing, right? They're so stuck and they've got so much zillions of pages of code.
Correct.
And they're totally committed to the platform they're on. It's like turning a battleship. It's hard.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And all the people who paid you to build that battleship may not want you to change everything. Like you have customers, right? So it's a tough position to be in. Again, that's why I call it fortunate that it was just good timing for us. And it was really the impetus of why we started it. Is like these AI models got good.
Yeah. How do you tell whether, because no offense, people lie occasionally. How do you tell whether, let's say it's Bluebeam or some project management software, or whatever they've been around for 15 years or 20 years. It could be QuickBooks. Who knows? I mean, QuickBooks is trying to move everybody to, other than desktop, and they have a terrible time trying to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Because you've got a whole user base that's used to whatever you've been doing for 15 years or whatever. And now you're trying, the software company is trying to convince them, we're good. You don't need to change it, right? We're good. Don't change it.
Yeah.
And so how do you tell when all the I'm sure people have a whole software stack they're using, whether your software stack is, I'm going to call it API. Why don't you explain to people what API is? Because some people don't understand that.
Yeah. So just taking a step back, and you were referencing this, like an API is essentially an agreement between two software companies that they're going to, the products are going to speak to each other in one form or another. Now, what's really tough about building APIs, or the reason like you don't see it all the way, is like two companies have to agree. Like company A has to agree that they want to integrate with company B, and it's in their advantage to do so, whether it's introducing company A to the company B's customers or vice versa. And then they have to agree what they're going to integrate with. Like, what am I going to share to you, and what am I going to share, you are going to share to me? And then it takes months and months to build that and test that. And so what you've seen with legacy software is companies like Zapier that allows a user to connect company A and B themselves. And there's still some things that are really difficult there. And so an API is that, hey, I've got this, like for instance, our estimating tool, and I want to send my estimate right to my project management tool so that it's cohesive and we go right into the build. Sure, it makes a lot of sense. And I think what's really interesting about that is that I really believe that APIs and integrations are going to go away, because if you've seen how you can build AI agents, which is basically like it's an AI tool that's your employee. And so if you imagine this, like I today can build an agent that says, I tell it, hey, at midnight every night, I want you to log into Assembly. I want you to export this thing. I want you to log into my other product, and I want you to import this thing. Those things are something you can set up today. So I think the need for two companies to agree and the bureaucracy there of integrations is going to go away again, which only benefits us as users, right? Where I don't have to worry about company A aligning with company B.
Right. So it's not totally political. It's software now. And now it's as much politics as it is software, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure it is. It's just about, what everybody needs.
So with all this, I mean, AI will do a lot of stuff, own a lot of stuff. And I think one thing I see happening, I went to a couple of conventions, everybody's starting a new AI company that'll do something. I mean, like all these kids are coming out of school. They don't want to be plumbers. They want to own their own company, right? And so they start some AI software. It'll do this, it'll do that. How do you vet all this new AI stuff coming out? Because I know when I went to this one, I think it was Service Master or some show. There's like 30 new companies that have been around 6 months that were offering, it'll call people, it will do this, it will do that, it'll like build your house for you, whatever. There's all these companies that start out, and my guess is 6 months from now, half of them are going to be gone.
Yeah. I would assume. So it's very much like any other bubble that's happened in technology. I think there's an argument that this isn't going to pop as big, meaning that like there's not going to be 1 million companies and only 3 survive. But it's very much like the internet wave, and social media sort of was a bubble, and all of these things that have been huge changes in the way that we use technology. AI is one of those things. And so one of the things you get with that type of hype and bubble is everybody slaps AI on their product and says it is, even if it's not. Right? Like there's sort of different varying degrees of AI because it's such a broad term. And so that's what you have to look out for, right? Is legacy software saying they've got some sort of AI now? It's like, well, probably not. They might have bolted on something really, really basic. And then there's AI native companies. And then there's companies who say they can do something. And, when you actually take it out for a spin and hit the gas and really, try to scale it, like make 1,000 calls, doesn't work so well. Very similar to AI. Right? Very similar to like ChatGPTs and Gemini. Like, sure, they're good at some things, but it's the consistency and the types of things they're good at on a consistent basis that's different. So to answer your question, we're in a time where you've just got to do the work to, take the demo.
Well, can you have AI? Can you go to ChatGPT just for fun and say, look, I'm considering using AI to make my outgoing calls to service agreements or whatever. Or I'm considering AI to edit all my conversations and tell me who's mad and who's not, or whatever.
For sure.
So can you go to ChatGPT or any other and say, okay, this is the company, this is what they claim to do. Is this reasonable or not?
Well, I'll answer that 2 different ways. Number one, and this is good for your listeners in general. So a lot of the use cases for consumers right now is basically using AI as Google, right? And so that's kind of what you're talking about. Is like if I would do the same thing. I would say, hey, look, if I need an AI agent to do my outbound dialing, I would say go do research on the top 5 products I should be looking at based on who I am and my business and my use case, and AI will do a great job of doing that for you. Now, what this is really interesting for your business owners out there is that that's an emerging thing that you need to focus on. So before we had search engine optimization, SEO. When somebody says custom home builder in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm located, Google has this SEO, right? It's the ways in which they pick up your website and rank you organically over somebody else. And there's a whole business of SEO. Well, now there's an emerging term called AEO. Answer Engine Optimization, where if you want to be the person that ChatGPT recommends when they go there instead of Google, name me a best custom home builder in Omaha, Nebraska for me, there's other things that you need to do with your website and your content to be ranked highly there. So I encourage anybody to think about that and look up AEO, and there's probably even consultants out there that help with that. But yes, you can use ChatGPT to research it. Now, I don't know that it's going to be on like summarizing reviews for you, which maybe it could. It's not going to have any more insight than somebody who hasn't like tried that product out. It'll just probably summarize the reviews that are publicly available, because AI only has access. AI is built on data, and the only data they have access to typically is publicly available data. So they're not going to have any proprietary information about these products outside of streamlining those reviews for you, which is valuable because it can do it in 30 seconds where you'd have to go find those yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I was reading something which made sense. It says that AI was intelligent but not wise. That made a lot of sense, because then, AI will build the ship for you, but it won't tell you where to sail it, right? It's like,
yeah. Well, based on reviews, it'll give you the top 5 vacation spots to sail it. But like, again, it's only has the information and data that's available to it. And that's really the level. And that's really like the next stage of these AI models is which one of these companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, XAI, Meta, like which one of these companies is going to have access to data that the other ones don't have? Like that's kind of what's happened, because that'll power their AI models more and more. And that's really why our company exists, because as any contractor knows, architectural plans are not publicly available, not beyond just like on some builder's website. And so that's why these AI models, like if you were to upload a 30-page architectural plan of a new home and ask an AI model to count all the windows or extract for you the linear square feet of the first floor, it would not do that well or at all, because it just has not seen enough data to train it on what a window is. And also business logic, right? Like I can count all the windows on the elevation, but what if I double count the window openings on the floor plan as well? Well, now I got double the number of windows, right? And so, again, back to my first point, that's what's really great for us or for builders is you're going to have companies like mine who have spent the time and money to sort of like do the testing and training for you so that you can start using it for certain workflows.
Well, now I would ask you, this is sort of out of your ballpark range. You have the unique experience of been in the industry for 20 years, been in software for 20 years, like not many people have been there. And you're now in the AI space. How does a contractor, who does he call? What does he do? Because he sort of doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? This is a whole new technology. It's changing everything. It's, one of the things I'm doing these days is I'm using offshore and AI to get people to do stuff amazingly for less money. It's like, but how does the contractor know where and how? Does he get an AI consultant like he gets a financial consultant? I mean, how does he find out what he doesn't know? Because it's a whole new technology. He can totally apply to his business, but where does he start?
Yeah. All the things you said are options, right? I don't know how many AI consultants are out there. I'm sure there will be 10x the amount if we talk next year at this time than there are today. And I think that's great. But it goes back to what I said earlier. I think that there needs to be a mind shift of how you interact with technology, with AI. Because my answer to you, that's the best answer, is ask AI. So go to ChatGPT and simply say, this is who I am. This is where I'm located. This is my business. This is me. I'm 44, whatever it is. And say, how can I use ChatGPT in my business and give me actual ways to do it today? And that's what they call a prompt. It's basically just instruction.
They all should become prompt engineers, whether they want to be or not, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because the better the prompt,
you
better.
can even say, how can I become a better prompt engineer as a contractor? And it will tell you what you need to do.
Exactly. That's the mind shift that needs to happen. I mean, it's basically like a conversational, like ChatGPT is an AI consultant. Just ask it.
Right. And it's AI, so it knows what's going on. So this is great. So Paul, if people want to get a hold of you and they're interested in, surpassing things like Bluebeam and getting, actually having AI work for them, you're not an AI consultant, but you got a great product, and they're home builders, how do they do that?
Yeah, you can just head out to our website. It's www.assembly, ASSEMBLI 𝗀𝗃.ai. You can find me on LinkedIn, Paul Wurth. Happy to connect there and answer any questions. Or you can email at hello@assembly.ai.
Cool. Thanks, Paul. I really appreciate being here. And this is things that are changing immensely every day, literally, right? So I appreciate being here. Thanks for the information.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. And if you want me to be your recurring AI guest, we can do that.
Hey, no problem. It'll change every week anyway, right?
All right, yeah. Thank you.